Hey guys, Mr. Bowman here. This is the part 2 video for the task the sniper. Hopefully this looks familiar, but we've had a look at this task in the previous video, so if you haven't seen it, make sure you do. We looked at task 1 and we found out the 2 points of intersection. We're now going to move on to task 2. And then just a note, task 2 is where the merit and the excellence stuff comes into play. So we've got the same context, but task 2, second shot. After getting in trouble for shooting through a building, the sniper is advised not to hit any more buildings. If his second shot must go between the buildings, what range of equations could represent the possible shots that he could make? So it sounds like we have a shot and it has to go between here somewhere, and it could go anywhere in between there. So we need to find out those equations. So what these represents is if we have a tangent, the tangent itself is actually going to hit the building because there's one point of intersection, but anything that direction of the tangent will be good in terms of the shot, and the same goes away, or the same can be said for the other side. So there's that one. So anything, that line actually hits the building, but anything in this direction will be all good, and that leads to the conclusion anything between those will also be good in terms of the shots that the sniper could make. So what we need to do is we need to find the two tangents, the tangent to the circle, the tangent to the curved apartment block. We then need to interpret those gradients and come up with that range of values in between. So let's start off with that. So the first part here, we're going to look at the tangent to the circle tower. And what we know is we know the sniper's shot is still coming from point A. So that means the thing that's going to change, so this is the original equation, y equals 4x plus 7. So that means the 7 isn't changing, but the gradient is going to change. So that 4 needs to go away, and that's going to become an m. And we're going to have a plus 7 after that as well. So we need to find out that gradient. We're linking that together with the circle equation. So we've looked at this before, but that's x plus 4 all squared plus y squared equals 9. So what we're going to do is, oh gosh, let's get rid of that. We don't need that part, y equals, but the y over here, that's going to be equal to mx plus 7. So let's substitute that in. So we're going to have x plus 4, x plus 4, and that's going to be plus mx plus 7, mx plus 7. That's going to be equal to 9. So don't forget, we've already done the double brackets because that is one of the most common issues that I see coming from this lot of algebra. We're now going to go ahead and expand. So we've got x squared plus 4x plus another 4x plus 16. And then we've got plus m squared x squared plus 7mx plus 7mx plus 49, and then minus 9. That there is equal to 0. Huge line of working, bit of a mess. We now need to simplify and group everything together. So I'm going to start by putting the x squareds out front. So we've got x squared plus m squared x squared. That's going to be equal to, we've got 8x over here, and we've got 14mx over there, and we've got all the numbers. That's going to be 56 equals to 0. We now need to factorize. So there are the x squareds, there are the x's. So we're going to take out the x squared here, leaving 1 plus m squared. We're then going to take out the x for the next lot, leaving 8 plus 14m, and 56 is unchanged, and that's still equal to 0. This stage here, we've got our equation, and we can actually pull out an a, a b, and a c value. A will be equal to 1 plus m squared, that being the part attached to the x squared. B will be equal to 8 plus 14m, that being attached to the x, and then C, the number at the end, that part's nice and easy, 56. So we've gone through our working. We now just need to link it to a bit of context. So at the tangent to the circle tower, we know that b squared minus 4ac will be equal to 0. And again, just noting, I'm using my context. That's really, really important to make sure you get the grades that you are looking for. So we're going to write down our equation now. So b squared minus 4ac will be equal to 0. We're going to substitute in our values from above. And the algebra will get a bit messy here. So we've got 8 plus 14m squared. We've got minus 4, 1 plus m squared. And then we've got 56 equals to 0. We're now just going to expand everything, simplify as much as we can. So the 8 plus 14, that's going to be a double bracket. So make sure you write it out as one. And then we're going to do the 4 times the 256. That's going to be minus 224. And then it's going to be 1 plus m squared. That there will be equal to 0. We're then going to move on to the next part. We're going to expand the brackets. That's going to become 64 plus 112m plus another 112m plus 196 m squared minus 224 minus 224 m squared. So looks a bit messy again, and we know that's equal to 0. So we're going to group together the m squareds first. That's going to be minus 28 m squared. We're now going to group together the m's plus 224 m. We're now going to group together the numbers minus 160. That there is equal to 0. And even though we're already solving a quadratic, we've now got another quadratic within that. So a is going to be equal to negative 28, b will be equal to 224, c will be equal to negative 160. When you put that into your graphics calculator, your first answer for m is going to be equal to 0.7929, and that was rounded to 4 dp. And our second answer for m is going to be 7.2071, also rounded to 4 dp. Now, this answer is a bit weird because we're expecting one line. So we need to think about the answers we've got. We need to try to figure out which one's going to be the false answer and which one's going to be the real answer. And just to help facilitate that, I'm just going to draw a bit of a diagram. So there's my, oh gosh, I shouldn't have drawn it so far in the center, but there you go. There's my x and y axes. Here's my circle. The sniper's over here. And these tangents relate to one of two lines. So we're going to have one tangent floating up over here. And we're going to have one tangent floating down here. And if you think about the gradient, that first one up the top, that's going to have a small gradient because it's got quite a shallow rise. And this one down the bottom is going to have a larger gradient. And that's because it's quite steep. And because of that, we can eliminate the smaller one. So based on that, M1 looks like it's going to be a false answer, and M2 is going to be our real answer. So we now just need to explain that in a bit of context. I'm just going to make some more room for ourselves down the bottom. Okay, so based on that, M1 is a false answer. As the shot, I suppose we could be more specific and say second shot, but we won't do that here, would go across the face of the circle tower. And then just link that to what I was saying before, i.e. it's the smaller gradient. And then based on that, we can actually make a conclusion. Our m value is only going to be equal to 7.2071. And that means the equation of the tangent is y equals 7.2071x plus 7. So there's the first bit. That's the tangent up there. So a lot of working for the circle tower. We now need to replicate that for the second tangent to the curved building. This one won't be as bad. The maths ends up being quite nice. So tangent to the curved apartment building. So we're going to start off with the same thing. Our equations, y equals mx plus 7. So we already explained where that came from in the previous part. And then the hyperbole equation, x, y plus 3 equals 8. We're now going to substitute. So we're going to take away this y here, put in the mx plus 7. So x and then mx plus 7 plus 3 equals 8. And we're going to simplify the bit in the bracket. Mx plus 10 equals 8. Expand that. Mx squared plus 10x minus 8 equals 0. And from here, we got our a, b, and c values. A is easy, which is equal to m. B will be equal to 10, and c will be equal to negative 8. So we've got those values there. Oh gosh, I'm not having a good day with the... There we go, there's a new page. We now need to go ahead and find what that is. So similar style to the previous question, we just need to state what the tangent will be with a bit of context. So at the tangent to the curved apartment building, we know that b squared minus 4ac will be equal to 0. We're now going to get into that. So let's state the equation. B squared minus 4ac equals to 0. Let's substitute. We know that b is going to be equal to 10. So that there's going to be 10 squared minus 4 times m times minus 8 equals 0. So that's going to be 100 plus 32m equals 0. 32m equals negative 100. We've had a bit of a computer glitch there. Negative 100. And then m will be equal to negative 100 divided by 32. And we can simplify that a bit more. That'll get us to negative 25 over 8 because they both have a 4 in common. And this time around, there's no false answer here. And that probably is because the, if you think about the tangent of a, not a tangent, the asymptote of a hyperbole, the sniper is probably exactly on the asymptote, which means there's no second tangent for us to hit. So that means our equation, so like we did previously, we just need to state what our equation is. So therefore, the equation of the tangent is y equals negative 25 over 8 x plus 7. So that's what we got there. So this here, these were the merit stuff. So if you could find me either of the m values, so this m value here, or this m value down here, that was enough to get you a merit. The first part of excellence is the bit up here. That's eliminating the false answer. And the second part of excellence is interpreting that for the range of equations. So let's do that as our third part. Range of equations. So we'll draw probably a diagram to support our answer here. So the circle's over here, that's over here, the sniper was up here. So this tangent here, that had a gradient of, just turning my page to see the exact number, 7.2071. The second tangent here, that had a gradient of negative 25/8. So anything in between these would have been a valid range of shots. So it is going to be anything greater or steeper than this number here. So anything greater than 7.2071. Just a reminder, it is not equal to, because the tangent would have hit the building. And it's also going to be anything in this range here, and that is when the negative line is going to be steeper. So also anything less than negative 25/8. Now, this is one of the ones you won't be able to write anything between negative 25/8 m and 7.2071. So we can't do that because that would actually be anything in the other range. So that would be stuff, kind of in this area here. And that there would be the wrong answer. So let's actually, let's get rid of that over here. Okay, and we then just need to state our final answer. There you go. So if the equation of the second shot is y equals mx plus 7, then the sniper can take any shot where, and there's two scenarios where m is greater than 7.2071 or when m is less than negative 25/8. So that last part there, that will get you excellence. So just to recap, for merit, you need to get one of the gradients correct. One correct gradient of a tangent. And for excellence, you need to explain your false answers and get the correct range, and then ideally express it in some kind of context as well. So gosh, that was a whole lot of work again, but just to recap what we've done. In the first video, we did task 1 together. We found the points. And today's video, we did a whole heap of messy algebra. We looked at task 2. We found the tangent of the circle, which was the worst part of it. We eliminated the false answer, which is really important for getting excellence. We then did the tangent of the curved apartment building. There was no false answer there. And then finally, we looked at the range of the equations. And then we stated what shots the sniper can make. And then just a reminder, merit, if you get one of the correct gradients of the tangent, you're all good. Excellence, you need to explain your false answers, and then you need to explain the range of m values in our context. So that was the sniper task. Oh gosh, I moved that picture. But that was the sniper task. Hopefully you found it useful. Best of luck for your upcoming internal. Make sure you ask heaps and heaps of questions.